It was a good conservationist film, wasn't it?
That's what I was gonna say. I loved that about it, and my mum would love that about it. Whereas I felt the first one wasn't really.
Do you want the rest of this? I've got to drive.
Oh yeah, sure. The first one, you know, like I just feel like it didn't. It for me, it missed the mark as a conservation. As you know what I mean. I got that, but it felt more superficial. Whereas in that, it didn't feel. You know what I mean? Like,
what are you wearing? Holy shit! I've never seen anything like it.
Oh, this is my Avatar suit. It's not really, but it's blue, so I thought.
I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing.
It's my yeah. It's like an 80s. Yeah. It's like an 80s suit. I just love it. It's pretty much my only summer suit. Can I leave that stuff there? I feel bad.
No, it's fine.
I don't normally do that, but
Oh, that's right.
this one's.
Look at the size of that screen.
Isn't it incredible?
It's amazing. I love
You're kind of not conscious of it when you're sitting.
Oh,
you know
when I first upstairs.
Oh,
Okay.
thanks.
When I first we'd been watching trailers all in 2D,
Yeah.
and then it showed the picture of the 3D glasses, and then it started going 10, 9,
yeah.
8.
Oh, that's my favourite bit.
Yeah,
I
it was
love
like, whoa, a big smile just popped into my face,
it's-
and I couldn't help it.
It's the best. And they used to have They used to have one which I wish they still do, where they do like the history of sound.
Oh, they didn't
it
do that
goes
this one.
through-
I've seen it
Yeah,
before.
it's like an older one.
Oh yeah, but just
it's so
in the beginning I thought, maybe this is a bit too loud. How do I turn it down?
Oh, really?
But then
Yeah.
I was like, okay, no, I can feel every thump. How good was it when they jumped down onto the deck?
Oh, the sound was amazing.
It was like the humans were like a little small amount of sound,
The sound was insane.
and then the big thumps
Yeah,
of the big
yeah,
dudes
yeah.
because they've got
So
no
clever.
skill in being
Oh, yeah.
dexterous. What do we call it?
I missed the very, very start. I missed what, like 5-10 minutes maybe of the very beginning.
I think you missed 1 minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not that long. To me, it was just so much better paced because I liked that they had that stuff at the start before they then, I won't sort of say what it is, there's no spoilers, but they established the family before they took us to the water, like to the water area. And I
Yeah.
thought the way they did that was really good because if they hadn't have done that,
Well, of course they had to do that.
It just
the last
would've
time
been
we
a
saw
bit-
them, they weren't even pregnant. Nothing happened. So it
yeah,
had
true.
to.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
yeah,
the
I
opening
liked
of Up. Remember Up?
yeah.
It's like an
Just a
entire
montage.
It's like an entire
Well, they could have done that.
like 10 seasons in 3 minutes. But just the whole nature, all the plants and animals, the way they moved, and
loved
the
it.
way they gave off light, the way it was beautiful.
It was so
just
good.
amazing.
Because that is what I did love about the original. Like, if I loved anything about the first film, I love that it's because I'm a huge lover of like prehistoric Earth, you know, like dinosaurs and stuff, and it's very clearly inspired by prehistoric animals.
How do you feel about the hunting sequence where the boy was left alone by the bullies
I mean,
when he had to hunt and hide in the coral?
I thought it was really well done. That's, you know, that was really well done from like an action point of view, from a writing point of view. That was probably a moment of the film where I was a bit like, oh, okay. Like, it just was very generic and predictable.
Well, it was
cliche.
exactly a copy
But-
of the hunting scene where Jake Sully first arrives. He first becomes an avatar and gets stuck in the forest alone.
That's right. Yeah.
And he's being hunted as well. He's got to hide behind the tree roots.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of echoing, or like, wasn't there? Like a lot of. But you know, that's what James Cameron does best: is action.
Oh, so
and,
good.
And in that sense, the action is incredible. It was only maybe, you know, the bit at the start where there was like the train, and the train blew up and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That was one where I felt this isn't.
It's too advanced for where they're up to.
Well, no, I was going to say this isn't sort of James Cameron's fault. I think it's just the maybe the 3D. I'd have to see it not in 3D, but that was a part where, for me, visually, that was jarring. Like it was stilted. It's hard to explain what I mean, but it wasn't fluid. Like it wasn't moving in real time, and so because of that, it brought me out of it a bit. It felt a bit cartoony. But once that kind of was back in flow, if that makes sense, or was fluid again, I was back in the reality of it.
I think
There was also,
cinema is traditionally 24 frames a second. All the projector equipment around the world is designed to be
That's right.
pumped through at that speed.
Yeah.
But I think humans can see at about something like close to 60 frames a second.
Yeah.
Like the brain refreshes, you know.
That's right. Because like 70, 75 is like your average computer monitor, right?
I've heard they're 120. Like gamers like to get the 120 hertz screens.
Oh, wow.
So I guess
But that would be
give
lost
them
on
even
our eyes,
faster.
wouldn't it?
Maybe it gives them slightly faster reflex action. Maybe we
Yeah,
can
maybe.
see in real life, like looking around this room right now. Potentially we are able to see in 120.
I thought at
Wouldn't be much more than that.
I thought at a certain speed it kind of becomes redundant because their eyes don't
exactly.
pick that up.
That's
it's
right.
like with sound or with, you know.
The only good thing you need for that is to put things in slow motion in post-production or something. But yeah, in real life, just see, apparently the focus arc we can see in is about your thumbnail at arm's distance.
Yeah.
And your brain just fills in the gaps. Everything else is not in focus.
Which is fascinating, isn't it? I wonder if the first film... Like, it's interesting when you see that, because that tells me it tells me a few things, but one of the things that just occurred to me is, I wonder if the first film was really what James Cameron wanted, because it almost felt like a different thing. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like a different... Like, I wonder if the first film was just what he could do at the stage...
Of technology.
Yeah, because I just wonder that... Thank you. I just wonder that... Do you know what I mean? There was just... For me, there was just like a lot more to that film we just watched than the first one. And I know the first one's like an origin thing and they had to do all that and whatever, but it still kind of feels... Yeah, I don't know. It sort of feels... Do you know what I mean? Like a bit like with Star Wars. You know how like George Lucas couldn't do certain things that he like had wanted to do?
Yeah.
I wonder if that was the same with the first Avatar. Because I don't know, it might just be me, but that first film kind of feels empty compared to what we just saw. Like, doesn't feel anywhere near as...
But this thing they call a MacGuffin in movies, where you've got to seek after look forward to finding a special gem or whatever. In the first one, it was the unobtainium, which is a bit of a silly name.
Yeah, that's
and then
right,
this one, it was the brain juice from the whales.
Yeah.
But they didn't keep looking for unobtainium, which is still worth a fortune anyway. Why don't you get both?
Yeah, that was confusing.
There should have been at least one section of the military or research scientists. They should have continued searching for unobtainium, because now that they've found there are multiple resources on this planet that are useful to humans, they should start setting up bases, mines, all sorts of things.
And how much time was it a year between the first and second, or more?
Well, the kids were...
Oh no, it must have been more.
It's all about the kids' age.
Oh yeah.
So we saw the babies, right? They were babies
like
when they were born. So
12 years?
Let's imagine that
the very end
she got knocked up straight away.
Yeah.
I assume the what do you call it, spawning period for a woman. What do they call it? Navi is 9 months. I don't know. Let's say it's a year, because there were babies in that first. I don't remember specifically if there were.
So it's got to be like a decade,
toddlers as well,
right? Almost a decade. Like
well, let's say 1 year. Yes, because no. The very beginning is where the babies are, but that goes through a montage in the first 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And then they're teenagers, and so that gives a chance for all those other things to make sense, and the humans, the sky people, return, etc.
And she did say we've made more progress in the last year than we did in the previous 30. So the technology, as in the people, the sky people. So
well, those kids were certainly not 30.
No. They'd be like 14, 15, 16. The little girl was like 10, 12.
Yeah, well, she was the youngest.
Yeah, but no, so good. So good. Yeah, I really think my mum would like it.
How many stars are you going to get? You're going to give it?
Oh, 4, maybe 3.5. 3. Oh.
I'll give it 4.5, I think. Really loved it.
I think it'd be somewhere between 3.5 to 4.
I reckon it would be up there with almost 5 if the soundtrack was John Williams level memorable. I don't know what you and the other reviewers are saying about the
I think it was just the
erratic.
I think it was just the 3D
animation.
I think that's why if you're up for it, I'd be keen to see it again at IMAX, but in 2D, because I have a feeling that it was just. Because I've had that before, like I've had it in other 3D things I've seen. Because I tend to avoid 3D at IMAX.
It's definitely an experience way beyond sitting at home watching it on your TV.
Oh wow, yeah, absolutely.
And then the step above that is cinema, but this was way beyond just a standard rectangular cinema screen.
Yeah, no,
because it was immersive, totally immersive.
I love IMAX for that reason.
And what did you feel about the front row seats? It wasn't too...
I was fine. I think I said to you, and it's true, I think with IMAX, if you're seeing it in 3D, I think front row is not so bad, because in a way, it's hard to explain, but I feel like once you put the glasses on, it's a lot more contained anyway, if you know what I mean? Whereas if we'd have been seeing, like for example, Oppenheimer, which I can't wait to see, at IMAX, but not in 3D, I feel like being in front row would be like, whoa, I think. But I don't know, it could be fine.
There is about a, I don't know, 10-meter gap between our feet and the screen.
That's true.
Even though we're in the front row.
Yeah, yeah.
And it goes down the hill.
Yeah. But do you know what I mean with 3D? Like it's a different experience in 3D, whereas when you see it 2D, it is more...
Well, the great thing for us at the front row was there were no heads in the way.
That's true.
I know everybody's kind of raked up.
The rake's usually pretty good.
Extreme.
Yeah, in fact, IMAX probably, is the best in the world for that. Like you generally
But I
never
don't...
get
Last
head-
time I was in IMAX, I was sitting in a middle sort of seat and it was no leg room. I was just uncomfortable
Yeah, the leg
whole
room's
time.
not great. The leg room's
Whereas
not great.
for us, we had infinite leg room.
I guess because they try to pack in as much. That's probably why the leg room's not good. Yeah, to see it again, but in 2D, like as in see it again at IMAX in 2D, and also to see, like, if you wanted to see together Oppenheimer there, just to to compare, because I think it would be, I have a feeling it would be more fluid. And the other thing is, there's just parts of that movie where I was like, oh. It's funny with 3D. There's parts of that movie where I was like, I don't really even feel like it is in 3D right now. You know what I mean? There's just moments where you're like, I don't think
Yeah, but
this
if you
is any
take off your
different.
glasses and check, it actually is.
Yeah,
We just
true.
got so used to...
I guess so. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But ironically, I don't know. Look, I'm just not a huge fan of 3D. But ironically, I think sometimes not 3D looks more real than 3D.
No.
Whereas 3D can look like a video game or like a...
Well, that would make a great video game, by the way.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine playing a game on IMAX in 3D. Fuck me.
On IMAX?
Yeah,
wow.
Can you imagine?
Well, I mean, that's
That'd
like
be
virtual
ridiculous.
reality then, isn't it?
It is basically, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a way to get it fully immersed.
But nah, that was awesome. I'm so glad we're like,
Did
oh
it
yeah,
properly.
fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
Rather
Thank
than
you.
like waiting.
Yeah, that was great.
Because now I'm like, I want to see it again, but not really. Yeah.
It's just so beautiful. The water and
It's so
everything is so
beautiful.
crystal
Oh my
clear
God.
and untouched.
Yeah,
And when the humans land,
everything
they just
under the
fuck
water.
everything up with that smoke and fire.
Yeah, everything under the water was absolutely incredible.
I know, there was not a single
It was
bad
just
bit of water, was
phenomenal.
there?
And even, I must admit, I don't know if you agree, but even the stuff like above the water, but at night,
Yep.
like the night parts were amazing. I guess because your brain, like visually, I think the CGI stuff is more, it's even more real or even more believable with when it's low light.
All the old special effects movies were set in nighttime, weren't they?
Yeah. Oh, I've just thought of another cool idea. This could be like even more James Cameron than what we just watched.
Yeah.
So, forget the desert idea, that's dumb. Because that's like the extreme of what it probably won't be. But how cool would it be if what am I trying to say? Because I think it's planning like 5, right? Or something insane. Like it's like, it's gonna...
He
it's
said
gonna
he'll do 6 and 7 if
it's
fans
like,
want to.
it's like out Star Wars in that sense. Like it's more than a trilogy.
Let's just hope that they've written the script and know what they're going to do in advance.
Yeah. I sort of feel like the next step would be to sort of incrementally just go deeper down into the ocean. And it's as if there are, so for example, what we saw just then was like the sort of top layer, right? Like that was like the...
It's interesting you say this
like if
because
you think of the layers of the ocean, because I was literally watching a documentary recently.
Well, I just came up with a film idea yesterday. Called The Mantle.
Oh yeah.
Where the fire people live.
Oh, there you go. Well, but wouldn't that make sense? Because if you think about Pandora, it's all about like everything's about the core. Like it's all connected to the core. So to me, it would make sense that, do you know what I mean? Like through the trilogy or however many movies it's going to be, they get kind of closer and closer and closer to like the heart of Pandora.
Sextilogy.
And there's like the next 2 films are, or the next 3 even after this, what we just saw, is like the different layers of, because there's probably like 4 or 5 layers of the ocean.
Yeah, and they would have mapped, the filmmakers would have mapped out that moon properly.
Yeah.
There's no way they haven't gone, this is the tundra.
You would like to think.
And remember when they were questioning those
really
other sea people?
Yeah,
and they didn't know where he was?
Yeah.
I thought it was the home tribe, but it wasn't the same group of people.
Yeah,
it was a different island. He said, we know he's in these islands.
That's right, yeah. Well, that's like, Fiji or whatever. Like, I guess, I mean, the idea of there's just like so many islands.
Mm.
Yeah, cool.
I think the Maoris would love watching that.
Yeah, there's definitely, you could tell there was like influence from that.
With the tongue sticking out and everything for a walk.
It's really random having that. Like, I like him. I think he's a good actor, but so random having that Aussie actor in there.
Yeah, it was.
And then also, like, if you're going to have that Aussie actor, I don't know why you wouldn't just have Jermaine as New Zealand.
English. Oh, he's New Zealand, of course, yeah.
Because it's like Australian and New Zealand.
Yeah, if they don't care about accents.
Well, yeah, and the whole thing is like...
And I was embarrassed for Australia watching that guy. Because he's the bumbling idiot, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He just doesn't care about animals. You know, it's sort of like casting a South African as racist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
Now we're the country that doesn't love animals.
He did it well, but yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It's not good. How did you feel about Natiri slashing her own son's throat like that? And he was hiding in fear from her at one point, right? So she comes around, grabs him.
I thought that was good because it sort of shows how, like, far she's willing to go. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of a good exploration of, like...
You're saying it could be PG. That throat slitting.
To me, it's like symbolic of her. You know, when someone is just pushed to the extreme of what they would do.
Yeah, but she would consider him her son, wouldn't she? I don't understand his relationship, Bam Bam, with all the rest of them.
He was terrible. Like, if I have one criticism,
he was the main character.
He was terrible. That actor was just awful. Again, not his fault. He didn't choose to be cast in it, but yeah, he was bad. He was very bad, and didn't seem to have any chemistry with anyone else.
How do you feel about when he decides to save his father? It's not his real father.
I kind of liked it, but I also felt like it was a bit of a cop-out because, to me, what it was saying was like, oh, well, you know, it's like the classic thing of like he has to survive to then come back and whatever.
Yeah.
But I reckon it would have been more interesting if he'd have actually died, and then we see him again in the next film as like a clone or you know what I mean? Like, because can't they just reproduce?
So that's what they did with Ripley in all the Alien movies. Like, didn't she jump in? Okay, so at the end of Alien 3, she's got an alien crunching out of her ribs.
Yeah.
And she jumps into the lava. And then in number 4, which is years later, she's got a full head of hair, and she's, I think, a clone.
I think you're right.
But a super clone. And the other thing is, she's not just a clone, she is the final clone, because there are a lot of experimental clones. Right? Remember the one who's sort of like her sister, the one that sort of failed to...
Yes, yeah.
And she gets to get her sucked out of the...
How epic would it be if they do, like, because I know it's like kind of James Cameron's biggest love, right? If they did like a deep sea thing where it's like total darkness and everything is just like illuminated by, you know, almost like, you know, in Star Wars where they go down to like where the Gungans are. That's kind of what I'm picturing, like this amazing like underwater citadel but in total darkness, but then like the city is like lit up.
So once you're down there, you could breathe for your...
Yeah. Well, not necessarily like that logic, but I just mean, wouldn't it be amazing to see, like, I'm trying to give a good example. You know, like in I Am Legend, where he goes into the darkness and it's all about the, like, that's classic horror, right? Imagine if they did that, but in like the depths of the ocean and all the creatures and like the, you know, lasers or whatever it is, like you're seeing that, so it's like darkness until it's like, you know, like that'd be fucking sick, I reckon.
I mean, how much longer is this guy going to chase after Jake Sully? Is he done? Well, is he going to kill his entire family?
Well, you know what? What I think would be really interesting, I don't think he'd do it, because I don't think it's very James Cameron. But if I was writing it as like a, you know, trajectory, I'd have him turn. I think it'd be really interesting to see the sergeant become, you know what I mean, like what Jake was in the first one, where he sort of sees what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I've seen it happen too often lately. The bad guy becomes one of the friends of the good guy.
But like, I don't think you'd do it straight away. I think you'd do it like you'd really earn it through the films.
It'd be hard to earn. He shot their son to death.
Yeah, true. You can't come back from that.
Oh, okay, we forgive you.
I mean, more like, it's interesting, moralistically, it's interesting to have him have that arc.
It was interesting before I saw it too many times. I saw it in Money Heist.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I saw it in some movie I saw just recently.
I don't know, it's weird to say this, but I wonder if you agree with me. I sort of think Way of Water was more balanced as well. Like, even within the action sequences, to me, it made made more sense. Like there was moments in the first one where I was kind of like, oh, that's just ridiculous, or that's just silly. Whereas with this one, everything really felt really grounded and real. Maybe because a lot of it was underwater. I don't know. Like it felt a lot more. I mean, ironically, I don't know about you, but if anything, I was surprised that Way of Water wasn't a bigger. Like, because the battle itself was actually very small. Like, if you compare it to the first film, right? The first film was like a small war at the end. Whereas with this, it was much more like contained.
What was your reasoning for liking the smaller skirmish?
Oh, I don't necessarily mean, like, I love war films. I'm not saying that smaller is better, but I think in how Cameron handled the smaller was more believable for me and I felt more connected, whereas I think with the original there was like so much going on and I didn't really care as much, there wasn't as much investment with the characters and their journey. So it was like that combination.
I'm listening to you as a writer now.
Yeah. Like that's what I mean.
Because I could be inserting.
Is genuinely better.
I could just try to squeeze in as many lollies into the lolly bag as possible. But maybe if you want to appreciate the flavour, you should just only give them 3 or 4 nice pralines.
I mean, I think it's just about balance. Like I think you can do. Like, what's a good example of
Batman and Robin, the worst movie of all time?
Oh no, I was going to say, what's an example of a film that does like a huge, like a gigantic battle really well? Well, even like Infinity War, right? Like that bit where all the portals open up and they have the huge... Oh, sorry, Endgame. Is it Endgame? You know, the map, like the epic battle. To me, like, that was so well done.
Is that still the winning movie of all box office records? I think it was at one point.
I think it was... It's tricky when you come into...
I think Avatar was. Then Endgame took it.
I think with inflation, yes. I'm sorry, without inflation, yes, but I think maybe with inflation, Avatar still beat.
You know, if that guy... What's the bad guy's name? I don't remember. If he does turn good...
The Colonel one.
Yeah, the Colonel. If the Colonel turns to the, side with... Because his son is family member.
Yeah.
Then I reckon Soprano wife will become the new main bad person.
That's what I was thinking.
Because she was sort of being built up for that.
Yeah.
You didn't get to see her towards the end or anything. She just sort of got lost in the... And she wasn't on that ship, was she? When it went down.
I don't honestly... Anyone who wasn't the Colonel, I was... one part that I found a little bit hard to take... Not hard to take, sorry. Wasn't sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure who died and who didn't. You know what I mean? As in of the soldier avatars.
Okay, so
I don't know who died.
So the whale hunter, Australian asshole, he lost his arm and was floating in the water, but I don't think he was dead. And Jermaine ducked just in time for that wire to not slice him in half.
Yeah, true.
So he's probably still alive.
Do you reckon the whale hunter will come back though? I feel like that's a one-off.
I think he sort of was a terrible character.
I don't think they'd bring him back for... Maybe, but I doubt they'd bring him back.
I can't imagine the next movie is more about whale hunting.
No, that's right.
But they need a new MacGuffin or go back to the...
They've done that like commentary and I think they're done.
Like, what do you think the next MacGuffin will be? Or do you think it'll be no MacGuffin, it'll be more about relationships? Because they can't have an Avatar movie without a war or a battle, can they?
I don't think so.
It has to have a battle.
Yeah, and also that's like what James Cameron does best.
And he said, and this is where we make our stand.
Yeah.
Jake Sully.
The next one's got to be a bigger battle, surely.
And the other thing that was interesting in the first one, he was speaking into a video diary. Yeah. Sort of justified his narration.
Yeah.
Who's he talking to now? The audience in the IMAX theatre? It was a bit...
Yeah, true. But that's the whole thing. Is he this, and that's kind of interesting narratively. Is he talking from the perspective of like at the end of the 5, 6, 7 film? Do you know what I mean? Is it all retrospective?
Sigourney Weaver her body didn't survive that one.
That's what I mean. I don't think either of them survived.
Oh, okay.
I think they were transferred into the Avatar body,
right?
And then their physical bodies,
right?
But isn't it meant to be like the soul passing from their old body into the new?
Well, the Avatar suit doesn't work with souls, does it? It's just a transference of brain information. That's the Avatar technology that was invented by the humans.
Yeah, that's where it gets a bit confusing. But either way, I think their selves are in the avatars and their original human bodies are gone and dead, I think. I don't think...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right about... he did die in her arms, I think, and she probably took him back to the spirit tree.
Yeah. Like he was dying.
And he had enough strength in him to pass through and survive that process.
Same with her,
but
yeah.
Sigourney Weaver didn't have enough strength, and so she didn't make it. That's why her avatar doesn't exist anymore. Her daughter does, though.
Oh, yeah.
And she can speak to her mother through the tree, or through things like that, through nature, because her mother's still.
You know what else?
Awa?
They implied in that movie is that there's going to be a reveal about who her father is.
Yeah,
don't you
that's
reckon?
right. That was definitely a question they left open.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I wonder if that'll be in the next one. We assume it's just another Na'vi.
But she had 5 fingers, didn't she? The Sigourney Weaver child.
No, the Sigourney Weaver woman, Sigourney Weaver, her human self
That was
died.
voiced by Sigourney Weaver, by the way.
Yeah. Her human self died, but the Avatar didn't die. As in, we didn't see her die.
The Avatar isn't really alive in the first place.
No, but what I'm saying is... No, but they are.
No, well, yeah, okay, they are.
What I'm saying is they're given life
They're
by...
a vegetable. Yeah, that's right. Because
they're given life by the soul
when they're in the
consciousness.
in the liquid tanks, they can still move and sort of... Like a fetus. They're like a fetus.
Yeah, kind of. But what I'm saying is, I think Sigourney Weaver died between... Like, we didn't see her die. As in, sorry, we saw... Because at the end, we saw Sigourney Weaver and Sam Worthington's human bodies be taken in by the tree. We saw that.
I don't think we saw them side by side at the same time, though, did we?
We did.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, that's one thing I do remember. I'm pretty sure we did.
So Jake Sully, his avatar, Sigourney Weaver and her avatar, all 4 of them laying down.
Correct.
I don't know if I saw that.
And it transferring into the thing.
Well, his eyes blinked open. Hers didn't.
Well, his eyes blinked open because that was how the film ended.
Is that how it ended?
Wasn't it? Because you know how that just ended, how it was like his face, and that's how the first one ended.
Is that how it ended? Just him waking up? I can't remember.
Because it's like the iconic... Remember the original poster was like his face.
I was waiting for his... As it zoomed on into his closed eyes, I could feel this was the end of the film.
Yeah, same.
It said the end, the end, the end, the end, the end, the end. With all his speech, like 50 ends. And then boom, and we're zooming on his closed eyes. Of course, it's just going to be bomb.
Yeah. But this time I'm more determined.
More determined. Like, now his forehead's forward a little bit more. 5-degree tilt.
It's like, this time it's personal.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what Avatar 3 should be called.
Yeah.
This time it's personal.
I'll have one of those bandoliers like Chewbacca around him, and he'll be like, knife in the teeth and shit. Like,
And it'll be like Rambo 3.
War paint, Because the first one was absolutely Pocahontas. And I've never heard any reviewers say that, and it seems like so obvious to me.
Yeah, Pocahontas and also I think Fern Gully. I think they both have pretty much the same story. Whereas that's probably the other reason. Whereas the Way of Water felt like an original story. I mean, obviously it's still tropes and stuff, but it wasn't as obvious. Oh, that's just that. You know what I mean? It wasn't as generic or as, I don't know. There was enough.
Predictable. It wasn't formulaic to the extent the other one was.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's almost as if people just did what they were going to do, and the camera followed where they went.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it was predetermined by the writers or something.
Parts of it were formulaic, like obviously very formulaic to have like the family and like
after the fin was missing
and that stuff. But like together, it sort of worked more. I think the way he combined those things.
I didn't really ever see any kind of closure about everyone appreciating the whale in the end. I mean, I know the audience, we all got to see it. I was hoping that the tribe would learn to love him again because he's an outcast, right? Poor whale. Everyone loved Whaley.
I know what you mean, yeah. Whaley.
I just want to see.
What was his name again? We did learn his name. I can't remember what it was.
It'd be good if you remember that.
He was one of the Tukmun. Is that what they called them?
Nice, well done.
Was it Tukmun?
That sounds pretty familiar.
But that was like their species, not you know, him specific.
Yeah. His name was Toby.
Yeah. Little Toby. Well, massive fucking Toby, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
So I think the adventures of Toby are done. I don't think he's going to become like all painted up with the boy riding.
Probably not.
And who do you think will be featured next movie? Because how long? If you're going to go that far into the future with 7 movies or whatever,
it'll be generational.
It's got to be generational.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah.
Jake Sully
and that's why I mean I think the water's just the beginning.
But they do live 30% longer.
The water's just the beginning because if you think about it, they started in the forest. The water wasn't like, it really wasn't that much far away, was it?
Yeah,
like,
it's
really.
not like it's not, the next one's not going to be called Avatar: The Way of Water B, or The Way of Water Part 2.
The
And
next,
they'll have like Wolverine
imagine
origins.
if it was like Avatar: The Way of Water, like a little deeper. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. The Way of Milk.
yeah.
A different part of the planet was all just milky. Like,
The Way of Milk. I don't know why I thought that was so funny. Oh my god, that's hilarious. But like, I'm not wrong, right? It would be interesting, like long
they
form.
are, of course, going to do what you said.
Long form. Do you reckon eventually they will?
Well, of course, we're going to see other parts of the planet. They can't
Yeah,
just stay
yeah.
there for 7 seasons.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you want? Movies.
I almost think staying there for another film is a bit ambitious. Like, they're gonna have to up the ante.
Well, they have to start there. This is our home. This is where we're going to make our stand. Dum chicka 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 boom. Right, that sort of
It's
ending.
like, and then it's like the next
25
film
seconds.
ends with him being like, "Well, we have to move on."
Yeah.
We underestimated how much the humans were going to come and, decimate us.
I like the way when there's a potentially binding ending where the family's all together, sort of
I
hugging
liked that one of the
together.
kids died. It felt inevitable, but I liked that. It felt more real to have one of them die. Like the cost of.
And then I see you, son. Did you like Sam Worthington when you said that?
Fuck, it's so bad. It's just.
No, but I thought that was beautiful.
It was.
Did you come
better.
close to tears at any point?
I did a couple of times. Definitely Zoe Saldana's performance was incredible.
Yeah.
Particularly that initial reaction when her son has just died.
That's
and it's
exactly
like,
the point
that
where I was closest to
so
tears.
good.
That's exactly the point.
Because she's just such a great actor, and it's such a guttural, And
Have you
obviously-
seen her act in many things?
Yeah, I think so.
Is this the?
It's Gamora from
Oh my god! It is
Guardians.
too.
Yeah, and then she's also
Wow.
a horror in the Star Trek. I don't know if you've seen the Star Trek movies.
Yeah, I didn't notice she didn't stand out for me as a major character in that.
Yeah, she's probably featured more in the second and third one. I don't know
Okay.
if you've seen the second and third
I have,
one.
but yeah. I'll watch it again.
And then I'm sure...
That's right. Of course, she's Spock's girlfriend.
I'm
isn't
sure...
she?
Yeah. Their relationship's great. I'm sure I've seen...
She is a good actress.
She's so good. And I feel like I've seen her in other stuff. She's 44. She looks amazing.
Well,
Like,
my age.
Like, she's... Like,
Fucking
I
out of
just
date.
mean she's kind of older than you would think.
Yeah, no, that's true. It is true. I'm surprised at that age.
She was in... Have you seen the Adam Project yet? I haven't seen it, but she was in that.
Yeah, that's the Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but
It
she was in
came out
that.
pretty much just before Free Guy.
Oh yeah, she's in. I've always wanted to see it, but she's in Nina, which is a biopic about Nina Simone, playing Nina Simone. She's in Amsterdam, which I still haven't seen.
I did see Amsterdam.
Did you? Was it good?
Gee, I've got a bad memory. I only saw it 2 days ago.
Oh really? At the cinema?
No.
Or on thingy.
On live streaming. I don't know.
Amazon
which-
maybe?
Maybe. Amsterdam. I think it was on Disney Plus because I'm trying to. I've signed off, and so it's TikToking you away for the final days that I've already prepaid.
Yeah.
So I was just watching the last things that I could see that were any good. I did see Amsterdam. I did like it. I did rate it. Remember, that's the one that I put that review on Facebook where I said
Oh yeah.
watchable.
Yeah, that's right. So not great, but
No. I mean,
Yeah.
it was totally watchable. It's like a sort of strange version of comedy
yeah.
where you would never laugh out loud or anything. It's just.
She was in the new Suicide Squad, which I haven't seen. As in
Is there another one?
the James Gunn one. You know, the guy who directed the Guardians ones, the one that came out last year.
Suicide Squad with who's the Will Smith?
Yeah, remember they rebooted it?
Did they reboot Suicide Squad?
Kind of, like, because you
How
remember...
can you do that within 5 years?
So there was the original Suicide Squad that was terrible.
Which
that
is
everyone
like 5
hated.
years ago.
Yeah, that everyone hated. And then there was the Birds of Prey.
Yeah,
which
which
was
I
the
hated as
sequel.
well. Which is like it was a Harley Quinn story.
Yeah, but it's is it, or like prequel, like it's related.
It's a side story.
It's
You didn't see
related.
any of the other characters at all.
Oh, okay.
Or if you did, it would have been just like one or
And
two.
then this one, which I thought you would have seen, but this one, which I
Who
haven't
cares
seen.
about Harley Quinn?
That's
She's
the
nothing.
new-ish one. It came out last year, so it's not that new. But like, yeah, they rebooted it with a new cast and not
Wow,
new. Well,
that's
not a
totally
new cast,
70s, isn't it?
but yeah, because James Gunn's that's like his style. It's meant to be good. I haven't
Have
seen
they
it, but it's
really
meant to be good.
remade the entire thing?
Oh, it's not a remake of the original one. It's a totally new take I don't even. It's like hard to explain. I haven't even seen it.
It's got what's her name? Harley Quinn. What's her name?
They didn't. I don't think they replaced any of the actors.
Oh.
Or maybe a couple, but like it's mostly the original crew.
Well, they did.
But just with a different
this guy
director.
Here is that wrestler dude, isn't it? Or a footballer, or whatever his name is. I've seen him in something.
Oh yeah, maybe that guy's a different one.
He's a funny character. Like.
And did Idris Elba maybe take over from Will Smith? It depends. I don't actually know what what characters they're meant to be.
They're not memorable. They're a misfit.
John Cena.
Yes, John Cena. He just started acting.
It's meant to be good though. As in, compared to the others. The others were terrible, but it's meant to be. Got 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Does it? Is that audience or critics?
That's audience.
What do the critics give it?
Not as good.
What do they say?
Where does it say Letterboxd, which I think gave it 3.6 out of 5.
I don't know Letterboxd.
Oh, you don't?
No, that's a very high score.
You'd love it.
Is that like Rotten Tomatoes?
Nah, it's a it's like an online community of film lovers.
But then she emailed them.
It's like an app. You'd love it. You should download it.
Right.
You basically make an account, and it's just like I do want to watch it. It is meant to be good, but yeah.
Whoa, watch out. Look at this. Trouble waiting to happen.
Oh, fuck.
Get the video camera ready.
At least there was. Yeah. I love how casually he was just like, oh, yeah.
He's totally out of it.
Yeah.
He's like casually walking across without looking for traffic or anything.
Just so chill. The things you're seeing on Brunswick Street.
That was just, I thought that was totally going to roll onto the tram tracks.
That was hilarious.